Welcome to the TNT podcast.
I am T.
And I'm TC.
Hello, Bombshells.
Hello, Bombshells.
Now, before we even get started, let's make sure that we like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Thank you. Thank you already. Or you can, and also please send us an email to tnt.the pod at gmail.com.
Of course, we'll have that up.
It's going to be right up here.
Right up there.
Send us an email. Hey, how you doing? If you want to, hey, how you doing? And other things.
Yeah, because we actually have some things coming up in the future for you guys where we definitely want to get you more involved because we're going to be a interactive, communicative community.
That's right.
Period.
Period.
Okay. And so we're going to have some things coming up. So we want to make sure that you guys know that email address. So we're going to say it all the time because it's going to be very important to how you actually communicate.
Yeah, it's imperative that you stay in the loop with this group. Yes. So send that email and you'll be in touch. Please leave a comment again. Please share, press that subscribe button.
And also too, you have to ring the bell too.
Ring the bell for notifications.
You have to ring the bell for notifications so you can know when we drop. Okay.
Yes.
So as we are getting everything clear, because usually we do drop on Fridays. Usually been our day. We drop on Fridays.
Yes.
So we're going to make sure that we have that set in stone for you guys so you can make sure that you know when we are coming to you, whether it is in your car, whether it's on your TV.
Right. On your cellular telephonic device.
Because there's many ways to see our wonderful and lovely faces.
See, when I was...
Or hear our wonderful voices.
That's right. And this reminds me, briefly allow me to sidebar. When I was standing at the bus stop at Cedar and Fairmount, probably, 2001? Whenever the Nokias with the changeable fronts.
Okay, yeah, where we used to play Snake.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was some kind of news. Why would that we would be able to watch TV on our cell phones? And I would be like, I don't want to watch TV on this. But, here we are. Things change.
There's always a plan.
Yeah. But that also reminds me, sidebar to the sidebar. I realized that I think from a limited point of view. Like I tend to think from where I am right now.
Okay.
And also horizontally kind of thinking as if everyone thinks like me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So everybody thinks like me and everybody's thinking from where I am right now in my existence.
In your space, in your experience.
And I'm seeing how that
in your shoes.
It's getting harder to communicate with people. It's not to communicate, but to understand what people are saying, the first time they say it, because I'm not thinking globally.
Yes.
I'm thinking from my town. Yes. That kind of perspective.
Yes, totally.
Absolutely. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and shout out to her and you. But definitely for making that observation. So
yeah. But so thank you for allowing those sidebars.
Yeah.
Thank you for handling your business with all the liking, subscribing, sharing, emailing, commenting, etc. Ring the bell for notifications. Miss T, what's good?
Nothing is going on with the pimp player hustler from the Himalayas. just out here cooling it. On to the next
Okay.
commitment of my journey. As we, talked about before, I'm just still on that same journey. Right now, it's just really just folks that focus just has to remain. That's where I'm at. Is trying what they say, you got to stay down until you come up.
Okay.
10 toes. So I am in transition of a lot of things, shedding a lot of things. So yeah, just and in that process it takes time because it's like a renewing.
Yeah.
So you're shit, as snakes and they shed their skin. I'm not trying to be compared to a snake in any capacity, but that was just the first analogy that came to my head. But the shedding of the skin, definitely just getting rid of, what is old. Even like the eagles, like they have to like get a whole new beak and they go through like
they have to break it off.
They have to break it off their face. Look that up. Eagles literally after like a certain period of time of living, and of course literally using their beak as their tool to actually gain their resource to sustain life. This is something that has been wore down over time.
I bet beaks don't have nerve endings though. It probably doesn't.
I don't believe that it really does because it clearly does. Well, I know that it is a grueling process because they also have to pick their their feathers. They pick their feathers out, so they literally go through this whole renewing process, and then this comes back. The feathers come back, and they out there like a beast, like they was before. But sometimes, so it's important for us to shed. Also, too, just a tidbit, to what is going on with me. It always makes me correlate to the fact that how we're supposed to tend to the land.
Okay.
And till to the land, and how it's important to actually give the land rest every 7 years. Okay. Which is actually biblical. If you really read in Genesis, he talks about how like making the land and how important it was to have somebody tend to it. But it's important to have every 7 years of giving it a rest because it's supposed to be sustaining your entire life. Right. So you have to give things a rest. Right. So that's where I am still. Resting and being productive.
You're in your 7th day era.
I'm definitely in my Sabbath for sure. I'm definitely for sure as you know, I do celebrate the Sabbath. But
Jueves, viernes, sábado, seis.
Shabbat. So
I want to see that movie Bad Shabbos.
Oh,
it's at the Cedarly Theater right now.
You know what? I thought I wanted to see that too. Is that with the? No.
I mean, it's a bunch of like Jewish actors. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably we've seen some of them.
I thought it was just this one who I always thought was like really, really comical. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, definitely take your rest, do what you need to do, be focused because you have to be intentional. Because you'll get distracted by the things of the day.
Listen. Oh, and that was so lovely.
Thank you for listening.
It's wonderful that you are taking the time that you need. You listening to yourself, to your spirit, your body. That's what we need. That's what I call the work of living because that's the only work that needs to be done.
It is imperative.
Yeah. Okay. Yo.
So, hey, did you know? I don't know how to say.
Continue to grow.
At some point I was a mad rapper. I used to live this life.
Really?
Yeah, I used to be out here writing rhymes.
Okay.
That is not the truth.
Okay.
It's not the truth. You should not believe that because that is not a fact. Okay.
I was like, let's tap in.
No, and we're gonna have a fact.
We can flip this script. Let's hear about the lyricism.
TC over there just doing things.
Dang, I got to get up.
Got to. Say them. Say
Okay.
them. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Do you need a? We want to push? Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because it was just holding the Zoomafil.
Well, that's a perfect set because we can just kind of cut a little of that out and jump right back in.
All right.
So today's topic, let's get into that, right? So today's topic is, well, if you've been with us, then you'll realize that we be kind of talking about like the relationship economy, and we were actually last week we were talking about kind of like how, because the whole purpose of relationship economy, if you're new here and you like, what are they talking about?
And welcome.
And welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. But the relationship economy was basically this kind of theory that we came up with, where how to maintain and sustain healthy relationships, whether that be with business, etc., family, intimate, all down the line.
Yeah, friends, etc. All down the line.
All down the line.
So we talked about it kind of generally in the first installment, and then we
just kind of giving you a dose of like what it meant.
Yeah. Then we touched on work relationships, the
work wives
and office husbands. That's right. And so today we are going to talk about an element of relationships that no matter what type of relationship it is, you're going to find yourself having to deal with this and making decisions.
Yeah.
Because of it. So
yeah. And I think just to add to that, I do want to say that as we go along through the conversation, we want to make sure that we kind of leave you with some tips and just some kind of advice, suggestions, we should say, that will kind of just help you be able to navigate the name of our topic today.
And then we'll also ask you, so make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can get that question for you.
So today's topic is
healthy. I don't have it. Conflict is not.
Okay, conflict is not the enemy. I was trying to.
I didn't write that down. I wrote down a lot of things, but it wasn't the exact wording.
I knew she did when we was discussing this and making sure that we had everything clear.
Yeah,
I was looking at her writing, and it just didn't appear.
Press on.
Moving on. No, anyway, so conflict is not the enemy. Okay, and I think that what this kind of is describing to all of our people who are tuned in today, healthy conflict can basically strengthen your relationships if it's done right. So basically that is saying that no matter what kind of relationship you have, there's gonna be some type of conflict,
right?
And so we can go into some details on just basically kind of discussing how a disagreement turned into growth.
Yes.
So we're going to kind of start there because it kind of gives you like more of an example of kind of how different things have played out, so you can be able to have healthy conflict in your relationships, because you don't want to necessarily end your relationships. You don't want to get a divorce. You don't want to end that, important relationship or, however relationship, because we had a conflict.
Right.
That could have been resolved if we actually had the tools to resolve it.
Yeah. So, and even getting to the origin of why we started talking about this relationship economy is, in seeing that our youth,
this is our chapter,
do not have.
It's called a chapter. Okay, sorry.
Chapter. Boom.
This chapter is just called the relationship economy. It just popped in my head.
Chapter. The youth do not have these skills, this soft skill of conflict resolution.
Yeah.
When I went to elementary school, we had a peace program. We had conflict managers. I was not a conflict manager, but that was a whole program where you were trained to be a mediator. You know, and nowadays, I hate this term, but it comes from living in a microwave society. Now we have an air fryer society where everything is custom and just right and fast. You know, to your door at the press of a button. Relationships with humans, we can't treat them like that, but this is what's really part of the culture now. And so, dealing with conflict, you know, I'm sure there are many people generally, but especially youth who, you know, you have a fight, you have a disagreement, that's it, we're done. The cancel culture of things.
I wanted to actually bring up the actual definition of what conflict means. And so conflict is basically a clash between two or more people, groups, or ideas. Okay. And it happens when needs or goals don't match, values or beliefs are different, resources are limited, communication breaks down. At its core, conflict is not always negative. And I think that if we focus on the fact that a lot of it really is compromise, negotiations, listening. If you really on a positive side, but more than not, it's always looked at as the yelling, is always looked at as violent, it always looked at as threatening, is always looked at as abusive, it's always conflict. It gets this negative connotation because of what the actual definition of it is. It's a clash between two people, ideas, groups, whatever.
It's a war.
So what would you say to that?
I agree. Everything has, you know, multiple sides. You can frame it different ways, but yeah, I agree. Conflict is.
I was just asking, like, as far as just agreeing with those definitions and just like the different points of it, like, you know, just being not your goals not met, different ideas, you know, we don't have the
right.
You know, like, as far as that goes, how does that correlate with any disagreement that you may have had that has helped you grow?
I mean, immediately I go to my prior relationship.
So in that relationship,
needs and goals, values, communication. What's that? Resources? Was that one of the 4 things? That wasn't really an issue, but
well, this is what I'm asking because I think I can tell that you're not answering what I'm asking.
Okay,
is a specific situation where it was a particular disagreement.
Why don't you begin?
I don't have one. That's why I was asking you. I may have one.
I mean, I was starting to say, and you felt like I wasn't answering the question.
Yeah, I did. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Because then you said, given, what we mentioned about these things being the genesis of conflict.
Right. Those are the genesis of the conflict based off of what the definition is saying and how it breaks it down. But in your disagreement, which is
a disagreement, thank you. A particular disagreement.
And of course, you could be vague.
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
what I'm saying? Just something where you notice how you were, things were showing up.
I don't know. Don't you have one?
I mean, I don't think I don't know. I guess I should have thought about that prior to us, starting the show. But I mean, I have so many different relationships. So I'm thinking like, how can I do. But yeah, well, I can just say as a parent, I can say overall as a parent, having conflict with, that in these senses is more or less of our ideas differ, because she's coming from a teenage point of view and I'm coming from a concerned parent point of view. So just to make it vague, because I don't really know like any specifics, but with having children, especially teenagers, you're going to always bump into some kinds of conflict with them, especially if you got daughters. Okay. Yes, honey. Okay. We will all be all right. But they eventually they get to a space where they have their own minds and they have their own ideas based off of their experiences that has nothing to do with us as a parent. So in that kind of conflict where we're literally battling back and forth because maybe she wants to do something that I do not want her to do, that conflict comes into really without having these proper tools and looking at conflict as a negative connotation. It was a lot of yelling back and forth and a lot of blaming and pointing the finger at each other, what you said and you did and but last time, and all of that. So I think that over time, because my daughter, she's of age now, she's definitely like college age. So in that realm, I'm no longer can punish her in that way. So conflict now comes as because this relationship is so valuable to me, and that goes back into just the maintaining, sustaining healthy relationships. Because she is such a value to me, I desire to make sure that I'm having a relationship with her. So that means that I have to think about what I'm saying to her when these conflicts come about.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let me self-edit here. Let me go back. Let me think about why am I upset? Okay, are you already upset about something? You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. So it kind of makes you like self-assess overall, but I would say that for me, that's probably kind of how I would generalize.
Well, when we're talking about growth,
Mm-hmm.
how does that facilitate,
With growth.
growth between you and your daughter?
But that's what I said. I said in the beginning, it was a lot of yelling. It was a lot of blaming, pointing the finger.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
and now you have
so now the situation is where I
shifted your
had to
approach.
actually edit myself. That was the growth. So
I know she did say that.
Hopefully everybody is paying attention. Maybe she's here.
I'm just like slow on the uptake
today.
today.
Where's TC at today? You know what? You know what today is? Coffee day. I mean, not coffee day. We needed to get some kind of like energy tea going. I did not give you my specialty mixture tea.
Oh.
Yeah.
She
hasn't had it.
I haven't had it. I did have my slippery elm bark powder tea.
What's that?
Double chai.
Ooh.
Tea bag. It's just powder, slippery elm bark. It helps lubricate the digestives. And I throw in a tea bag for flavor and also caffeine.
Okay.
So a black tea. So this week is double chai.
Double chai.
Anyway, that's the tea on that. We return. Conflict in relationships. So as you were sharing about with your daughter, I was thinking maybe it was hard for me to answer initially because I'm pretty conflict avoidant. And so the biggest conflict I've had recently is always going to be associated with him. So, but I do have conflict also between me and my son, but it's more like energetic conflict. Like, okay, that is vague, but it's more of like relational conflict, not necessarily like specific to like a desire or a need, but it's like how we relate with each other. Like we're both emotional, and so we're very mindful of each other as well, of each other's needs. And so in communicate, that can make it difficult to communicate.
So that's, I think, I just so you can, everybody can feel comfortable in that, is that that's what conflict is breaking down. Is that it's not about everybody's conflict is going to be the same. So that conflict that you may have with him is the resources are limited, whereas his energy is not matching your energy, or your energy is not matching his energy, or whatever. However, you just posted that. That's what they were saying as far as like resources are limited.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So it's yeah. Yes.
So how have let's get back to the question. So how has that disagreement helped you
Yeah, I'm
grow,
like
or you
not
have not?
addressing all the words, disagreement. But anyway, I mean, it's a work in progress because we're not really doing anything wrong. We just kind of overthink in these moments where we just get in our head.
So are you able to notice it, and is based off of what today's conversation is about, having healthy conflicts? Because that's what we're trying to promote.
I mean, I guess it's
do.
already healthy. You know, we're not like we're resolving it, working through it or something. I don't know. That was a bad example. But I can use one of his examples from his work because he uh works with in a team like environment. One of his coworkers, I find this coworker to be a jerk, and my son is like, "Oh, he's a nice guy. He's fun," but he says these makes these offhanded comments, or he's just always like, trying to push my buttons, or like, you know, call me out on things that,
Okay.
just feels awkward or whatever.
Okay.
Um, so I'm like, well, you got to teach him, you got to tell him how to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell people how to treat you. Like, I don't, you don't deserve to be in this type of situation. Like, and it's okay to let them know. You got to figure
Yeah.
out how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But, I just encouraged him to like stand up. And so we'll see how that plays out.
No, I think that was just some healthy, feedback, because of course it could, somebody else could have said.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rarely yelling. The most yelling I've ever done was at that man.
Okay.
I'm
Well, what I think that even just with, not even necessarily like us, just coming from just like the general consensus of like life itself, what we see, experiences around us, not
true.
necessarily
I
how
mean,
we per se
yes.
deal with
Personally,
conflict. Yeah,
yes.
because it may not
That
be
is
your
one.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, but we're talking
As I'm
about, yeah.
thinking it through, yes. From a global, because I mentioned this in the beginning, can be kind of narrow. Globally, though, there's plenty of, disagreement on needs and values.
Mm-hmm. That could
I
be
mean, that's
conflict.
basically what the news is.
Because even when it was breaking down some of like needs and goals, one of the examples it gave is like a person wants quiet and the other person wants loud music.
Right.
Like we tend to forget. That's why I wanted to break down just the simple conflicts that you possibly had in your lifetime, not necessarily something where it was like, because once again, we're going to the fact that conflict is only violent, abusive, yelling, negative, da 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 da. There was conflict where you had with your school teacher where you felt as though she may have given you a wrong grade, and I had to actually, you get what I'm saying? That may have happened. You've been to college, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure that, working on some kind of project with the teams, as we
Right.
always get thrusted into, you didn't do all of your work, just because these are just life things, but it turns into conflicts and we don't know how to navigate it. We're now yelling at each other in the negative sense, where instead of actually compromising and listening and maybe taking ownership.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And it could be just that simple. So if we want to, like, really, as we move forward, helping all of you move forward, helping us move forward, helping us address each and everything, as if I have a conflict with my best friend, if I have a conflict with my husband, if I have a conflict with my boss about something where we're not meeting of the minds, and there is some kind of actually disconnection, it is okay to confront that person and have a actual mature and educated conversation where you can actually see that, well, babe, the fact is it's 6 o'clock in the morning and we driving to work together. I don't want to listen to loud music.
Right.
Instead of you walking around all day long irritated about the fact that this man played whatever he played, because it be that simple. It be those simple little, nuances that literally be like, I want a divorce. He plays music too loud every morning. Instead of telling him what you need.
Right. Many times it's you have told him what you need and he's not.
10 times out of 10, you didn't. You don't tell people what you need
And then,
by yelling what you need in the midst of them doing something.
Right. Then the police come and they take you to jail.
Okay, well, we don't want to go to jail. So we prevent everybody from going to jail.
But let's regulate in the moment and avoid conflict. I'm a master at conflict avoidance. That's why, again.
Yeah, and that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's very, very unhealthy. I mean, I ain't trying to,
No, I mean, it leads to people pleasing.
Yeah, because it's not healthy.
And not getting your needs met.
My main thing of even what, I'm saying, our breakdown of conflict not being the enemy. Right. And this should be something that if you feel that way, and others, okay, please send us an email.
If you feel that way, raise your hand.
Send us an email so that way, because listen, the thing of it is that we tend to always say, well, that's just what I do. We can't
that's
keep
just
living
me,
that.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you want to be a better person in those areas? Right. So that way you don't need to be a master at conflict avoidance, because I don't need to avoid conflict. If the fact that you didn't mow my lawn properly and you think you need to get paid, I need to be able to comfortably, respectfully tell you that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So those are simple conflicts that people, if you, with your label that you just stated, that's kind of how people operate. It's like, well, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just, it is what it is.
Right.
It's like, no, like, once again, holding people accountable, and also punishing people. Hey, listen here, you're not doing my line right, so you have now been let go from doing my line.
Right.
Sometimes you have to make people feel it in order for them to never do it again. But if you're avoiding conflicts, you might be in a hamster wheel of experiencing some of these same situations.
So there's growth in that awareness.
It is healing, it's growth, and it is definitely imperative that you take heed and share this video with somebody else, because the reality of it is that we're all trying to do our best. So we get lost in the mundane of every day and not really being able to realize that we're losing track and we're left definitely losing our ability to have the resources that we need to really be healthy people overall, not necessarily just financial and all of the basic things of life, food, shelter, clothing, that type of thing. But I think these soft skills, as we express, are just as important.
Absolutely. Because, we need to be handling the conflict of, you know, having clean water and clean air. And, you know, that
Absolutely. Those are resources that are limited. Conflict with the fact that our government may not be delivering what they need to deliver. The fact that we're living in an economy that is absolutely, we're living in a country that is just capitalizing and monopolizing and all of the eyes and but yeah, and that's why I feel like when the breakdown of like how it broke down, like the needs and goals, values or beliefs, resources are limited, and then communication, like misunderstandings and you assuming something.
mm-hmm.
I assumed you stole my car. Well, I don't know why you assume that. So now I don't want to be your friend because you think that I really stole your car and I did not.
Right. Yes. So
she is so funny. I cannot take her.
Healthy conflict is essential.
Mm-hmm. How is that so?
Plant the seeds that you want to grow, particularly with the people closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the ones, I mean, if you can go no contact, but if you rather not, you don't want to throw those relationships away, as you were speaking, about you and your daughter.
Or anybody else for that matter. Because I was
For
just
that
giving
matter.
general.
And so what are some ways, I mean, clearly, open communication is one thing that we've highlighted so far. How do we get to the point where we can, like, we talked about going from A to B, like from this rah to like a
Having
smoother
the understanding.
conversation. How do you get there?
Okay. So then having that understanding that there is a problem, number one. It's identifying that this is either not healthy or it's toxic or it doesn't work for you in some capacity.
Yeah, is it
So
productive? Are you getting
whatever
done
you need to
are you
be
meeting
getting.
your goal?
Absolutely. If the goal is to get you to, you know, whatever it is, it could be anything. If I'm not meeting that, then I might need to change my approach, because the reality of it is once again is that the relationship is important. So if the relationship is important to maintain and sustain, then it's important for you to kind of switch up kind of how you're actually delegating these life moments, as I call them, because it's life, you know, and we're humans. So you're going to feel. That's one thing we do, is rely on how we feel. But I think a good way to start to navigating transitioning from having a negative connotation, whereas it's the arguments, violence, loud talking, threatening, abusive, the belittling, etc., 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 on the negative side, and how we get to the positive where we're compromising and listening and different things like that. I think it's like, let's break down the anatomy of what a healthy disagreement would be.
Okay.
So, and a healthy disagreement would probably be me listening to you on why you have a problem with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a problem with me and we have a relationship, hey T, I want to come to you and actually explain this to you. So I would say that that's the first step, is actually realize or having that open space and safe space where
Yeah.
the two people can come safely to each other and state what they actually feel wronged about, what they feel disappointed about, etc. What would you say?
I agree with that. State your case, make it plain,
Mm-hmm.
and then allow the other person to do the same.
Yeah.
Find out where you agree,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, maybe these are the next steps after hearing,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, make sure you turn those listening ears on.
Mm-hmm.
And actually process the information, because it's one thing to hear, it's another to listen. It might be the other way around. But yeah, here you start from where you align and then work your way to identifying those key things where your values aren't the same, your needs aren't being met.
Yeah.
Um, and it just comes from like having that dialogue.
And like you said, I think that the main thing, that the foundation you stand on, is the respect.
Yeah. And sometimes until when you finally talk about it, you find out like you're not even mad about the same thing, or
That's the
it's
whole
a
purpose.
complete misunderstanding.
That is the whole purpose of even having healthy conflicts, which is why conflicts is not the enemy. And we need to stop making conflicts the enemy. It's not the bad person. We be having all these conflicts. It's like, no, you do not have tools to actually communicate and compromise and actually listen and learn. Sometimes some moments are teachable, but we too busy caught up on our high horse, I can't nobody tell me nothing attitude, or even
That's
men
right.
on the men side, I'm too macho, I'm too, what I'm saying, king of my ship, for somebody to come in and give me new ways to actually, do things around here.
Mm-hmm.
It's imperative for us to be teachable no matter how
Yeah.
young, old we are, because we are always in an environment where we're learning,
Mm-hmm.
especially with relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You never know how people are. So if we all become a little bit more healthy in our conflicts and stop avoiding them,
Mm-hmm.
because it's actually growth there, and it's actually lightening there, and it's like, I feel light as a feather today. Like, I do not feel like I'm walking into this space with this heavy anxiety because we didn't discuss something as simple as,
Yeah.
something off, some kind of office jibber jabber.
Yeah. Holding on to things.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. But they were, I would, when I was bringing up the anatomy of the anatomy of a healthy disagreement, I think that that's something that we're going to actually always focus on, because I like that, like the anatomy of a healthy disagreement, because it helps you break down
What are
what are
those
I'm going
things?
right. These are some of these. The one of it goes into respect, which is number one. That's my thing, because that's the foundation. Because if I ain't got no
Mm-hmm.
respect for you, that's already anything and everything is out the window.
Right.
And that's period. No matter how much, whatever. And so it kind of breaks down, like making sure you're respectful with your tone, like no name calling, no belittling. Instead of "this is stupid," it's "I see it differently." I
Yeah.
think
Changing
that's
your language.
changing your phrase, swapping out your phrase. And then even if you don't see eye to eye, the relationship comes first. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
matters? Like,
Which really is like the person
and that's
comes
why I said the
first.
value, that's whether the value of the respect is there.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, excuse me, because I was going to say no matter even the setting, because it could be something as your boss. Is this really a healthy and beneficial relationship, right? Because it may not be. So maybe you are using certain verbiage.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
and being having a general mindfulness, like some, it can be called like fighting fair, but I've
absolutely.
noticed even in the Housewives franchise,
Mm-hmm. which is some of our
they
favorite
will
franchises, as you guys know.
they will call each other out
They can listen to this
on
episode and learn
like
a lesson.
when you make fun of somebody's like physical appearance,
Yeah.
something that's generally you can't control, even though we know these women are in full control of their appearance, but
belittling them.
yeah, belittling them for how they look, like that's something that is mindful of humanity that I've noticed being coming more and more. It seems like it's becoming part of the culture of their relationship economy.
And you know what? And I think that when it comes down to, that's why women, we get that cattiness. Um, we get labels, excuse me. You know, we get, you're catty, you don't know how to communicate, you all, you know, it's just a bunch of drama and nonsense. And to be all the way honest, it is, because we don't have the ability to be able to have these healthy conversations and see value and respect in you in those moments, because I'm too busy caught up in my feelings, which we're going to have a whole nother conversation about, because I feel like feelings are so fleeting and don't really mean a lot when it comes down to making executive decisions. Your feelings don't matter. Get your feelings out of it. Executive decisions have to be made. You know, so let's go off of, just like how you were talking about how you said with the trial that you watched, Gabriel.
Yeah, the trials of Gabriel Fernandez, about the little boy who was murdered by his guardians. The jury was tasked with deciding whether or not they would find the defendant, the stepfather, guilty of first degree murder, potentially giving him the death penalty. There was agreement amongst 11 jurors. One was there's always 12, right?
Yes.
A holdout. And they eventually came to a unanimous decision to convict the defendant. The juror, though, was adamant about them taking their time with this decision and going through all of the evidence, making sure that they were really positive that the evidence met the requirements, the instructions from the judge, you know, to meet this charge of first degree murder. And while he, of course, he came around, we know that now, but that's um, that habit, that process of weighing all the evidence, not just jumping to a conclusion because, I mean, you know, it's the right thing, but that's based on emotion and feeling. But the law is not emotional. So, you know,
And so,
yeah.
yeah, to bring it to that point, you know, because we had just kind of mentioned that before we started recording, and she, you know, kind of stamped that that was, you know, something that stood out. And I think that that is
Yeah, with
important.
me being an emotional person, like, um, having made decisions from that space, good or bad, you know, when you're not taking into account the whole picture down the line, you have these bumps and these walls and these like things that you could have mitigated had you paused and just take a step back, look at everything. You know, your decision may not change, but at least you have the broader picture.
And I think that that's where that boundaries come in, because that's one of the anatomies of a healthy disagreement, is having your boundaries, which means that you're basically having your values and your beliefs be your decision making. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you get grounded in that. You know, when we talk about, you know, we always talk about grounding, you know, like, and how important it is. You know, for those who don't know, it's just literally barefooting it in the dirt.
Yeah.
Would literally, you know, it's electric. It's electric. You know what I'm saying? The energy is recharged there. You know, and a lot of the times we're walking in these synthetic shoes and different things where our feet are not really being connected to what we need to be connected to as spiritual human beings walking in this fleshly world. Now, you know, that may be too much, but it's the reality. But having your boundaries there, I think, helps as you to continue to get more healthy, and as um everybody gets more healthy. And when I say healthy, just mean in the sense of, because you said you avoid conflict. You was like, yeah. So that's
Well
the only reason why I was saying it
practiced.
like that.
I have several degrees.
Yes, there she go. Okay. But also too, another part of the one of the anatomies is breathing room, is basically giving each other the space. So sometimes stepping back is part of the process, taking a pause, revisit later. Not every disagreement needs a winner. And I think that that's a heavy one, because a lot of the times we go into these conflicts with the idea of, I need to make sure that I'm heard. And
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think that you really say, I need to win this, but it's a form of it. Whereas you need to come out with the last word, whether it
Yeah, it's a
shows up, it's some
competition.
kind of
Yeah,
competition back and forth. You
yeah.
could say the ugliest thing, that's where, just that basically the respect comes in, where it's like you start belittling each other,
That's where you get off track and then people go to jail.
Yeah, it does, because, and that's why it is, because people go on Snapped every day. People literally have fatal relationships every single day, and nothing about it is cute, because you see people in the grave. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't want to look at you in the grave. You know what I'm saying? And be like, well, we sure talked about that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm going to think. You know what I'm saying? Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, sad, all of that. You start thinking those, because that's logic. It's like, oh my God. So we have to try to do better, so we're not locked up, because 2 lives are gone. We got somebody in jail for the rest of their life, and then we got
Yeah.
somebody who's never going to return in the physical realm ever. So there's that.
Wow.
Now, there's one more, which is collaboration.
Anatomy of a healthy
The
disagreement.
anatomy of a healthy disagreement. I went over 5 different, I guess, disagreements, or not disagreements, but
Elements.
element. Thank you. Come on, give me some points. I'm looking for the bullets. Yes, absolutely. So definitely, I'm coming up with like 5 different elements that are going to actually help you be able to have a healthy conflict in your relationships, and not be afraid, and realize that conflict is not the enemy. So the 5th one lands with collaboration, and that goes with having healthy disagreements, aiming for solutions and not victory, which is what we kind of talked about too, kind of also in the boundaries. I mean, not in the boundaries, yeah, boundaries. But they basically kind of gave an example, was like, what do we both want here, or how do we meet in the middle?
Right.
So how do we collab in this disagreement? That makes a lot of sense. Even if compromise isn't possible, you walk away with clarity instead of damage.
Clarity
Instead of
instead of
damage. I think that
damage.
that's a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to destroy everything.
Yeah, because we be out for blood destruction.
Because really, yeah, you should, the healthy thing to do rather than go to war and tear all the buildings down, drop bombs, even though we love a good bomb, but we like sugar bombs and love bombs. You know, we don't want
Yeah.
war bombs.
No.
Everything is dust and lifeless. No, we want,
An
dang, my
abundance.
metaphor,
We want
lost
an
it.
abundant flow. I'm not sure what her,
We
but we
want
want
an
an abundant. We
abundant
want a
flow.
spring bloom.
We want to plant seeds. That's where I was
Yes,
going.
there we go.
We
Harvest,
want to pull up
healthy land.
the weeds, get rid of the negative pests, plant new seeds to new soil, turn it over, water that baby. You know what I mean? Grow a new flower of understanding, a new flower of understanding.
And you know what? And as we kind of like just wrapping up, today's conversation with conflict, is not the enemy. I think that one of the things we want to make sure that we're asking you guys is, why are disagreements and conflict so scary? And why are you so afraid of those?
Why are you scared?
And so if you would like to actually
I'm just
communicate
playing.
that, let's put that in an email and you know what to do. Okay.
Right up here.
Right up there. And because the reality of it is that we got to start asking ourselves certain questions to come out of certain cycles. Is you because you know it's almost like sometimes we put band-aids over everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to heal those wounds. It's time to heal those wounds.
Sometimes we put a band-aid, you know, those skin color band-aids. You get one that matches your color exactly. You really don't even see it. That's really not great.
It is. It's not. Absolutely. And that couples into with you not getting what you want. And that's what it really boils down to ultimately is how are you benefiting from this relationship? Because it is a give and
it's a
take.
Give and a take, and you know, heal those wounds so you can be a healthy person that can then be in healthy relationships with others.
Yes, please. Okay. Remember clarity instead of damage.
Okay. Right.
Walk away with clarity versus damage. Okay.
Don't throw poison in the grass
when it's actually just a little part that you can actually, you know, we can take care of that.
What's that? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Don't throw the bathwater out with the baby.
Keep the baby.
You know, don't throw the bathwater out with the baby.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Is whatever.
Because you would throw the bathwater out the window. You got to take the baby out.
That's why I say don't throw the water out with the baby.
Yes.
Or no. I don't
know. Either way, make sure you
as well.
Email us. Leave a comment, please. Is it bathwater baby, water baby, bathwater? What is it? Also, like this episode, subscribe to our channel, the TNT Podcast. Make sure you share this
and watching.
Thank you so much for listening.
Like she said, before you leave,
I like this kind of heart. I like this.
Okay.
I think I saw that girl Ice Spice do this.
That looks really like gang-like.
Oops.
That's what it looks like.
But it's very stylish.
Yeah, you know. See, I don't do things that I don't understand.
A pretzel.
I can't be doing things.
It's a heart. I understand hearts. Love. That's where we're going now. We don't know what the heart means.
As we wrap this up,
healthy conflicts. Moving on.
I'm just playing.
So, you know, do all the things, handle your business. Make sure you send us an email answering, or put it in the comments, your answer to the question.
Yes. The question basically is why are you afraid of conflict and disagreements?
Why are you scared? Like I said before. So, all right. Well, love y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you
so much. Have a bomb day.
And we'll see you soon.